going on, everybody? Welcome back to my random horror reviews. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Alright, episode 94, coming at you live and direct, and we're going to take it all the way back to 1959 with a film that I've actually reviewed on this channel once before, but this is the brand new Film Detective re-release, the special edition of, like I said, 1959's The Bat. Yes, starring, of course, Vincent Price and Agnes Moorehead, among people. Yeah. So, this one I have actually reviewed on the channel once before. Now, this version right here came out, I don't know, a few years back. It came out a few years back. This is a bare bones release. It did have a brand new transfer and stuff that looked beautiful on it. So, this is now the re-release, and you'll notice different artwork, and it says special edition, which is referring to that the fact that it's chock full of features, which we'll get to in a minute here. So, getting into the synopsis of The Bat from 1959, basically this one centers around our main character played by Agnes Moorehead. She is a mystery thriller writer who has moved into this huge mansion that has a past. Apparently there was a bunch of murders that happened in this place by this criminal known as The Bat. They figured that it was The Bat doing these killings. She moves in there with her single housekeeper because, you know, the staff that actually worked at this house all left because of the history of the house and stuff like that. Now, the owner of this huge mansion actually is a bank manager who has just embezzled like $1 million. Anyways, apparently he's hid this money somewhere. He goes out on a hunting trip and he doesn't come back. He gets killed out there. And now we have a bunch of characters, including Vincent Price, who plays a doctor in this film, basically who are kind of maybe interested in finding this money because, you know, his nephew and stuff doesn't really believe that he embezzled this money, but he may have hid it in the house and stuff like that. So you have a bunch of people that are kind of searching for the money. And of course, the Bat, who is terrorizing the people that are inside this house. And yeah, so that's basically the premise of the film. Now, my thoughts on The Bat from 1959. Now, I've always been enthralled by this movie. Vincent Price is my favorite actor of all time, so sometimes I feel a little bit biased towards performances, but he's fantastic in this movie. Agnes Moorehead is fantastic in this movie. Lanina Lane, I think, she plays the supporting maid in this film. I think that's what her name is. She's fantastic in the movie also. That's one thing about this film, is that everybody in this has star quality performances. It sells the movie so well. Yeah, Vincent Price is fantastic as the doctor, and, you know, Agnes Moorehead, her cadence, every time she delivers a line, it's so believable. It's done in the greatest tone, like Vincent Price. Everyone's just on point in this film. Now, the thing is with this type of movie, it's a whodunit. It's a mystery on who the Bat is. And the problem is with this movie is the script isn't the most solid thing in the world. It's so misleading to the point where you it can't be that person who is the Bat or the killer. Because right from the beginning of the film until the reveal at the end, where it takes a complete left turn, it's very one-track minded. It's very tunneled on focusing on the certain character as the Bat. You know, as a viewer, you're like, well, it has to be him, but it can't be him because it's just way too damn obvious. I think that's a problem with the script, is that it doesn't lead you in multiple directions and try to figure it out. It's trying to tell you that it's this person until the left turn at the end where it's not this person. I've always kind of had a little bit of issue with that. And getting into Vincent Price. Now, Vincent Price is such a huge fan of the original stage production of this film. Now, this is actually the third film adaptation of the novel written by Reinhardt. And, you know, he was such a big fan of the stage show as a child, it scared him. And now he signed on to this movie to become, or he wanted to do, you know, the story some justice and things like that. The end result he was a little bit disappointed with, and I can see that. And he even said that, you know, he was kind of disappointed in the script, maybe the direction in the film and stuff like that. And I can totally see that because it's always been my major problem with this film. Now, if you took out Agnes Moorehead, of course, from Bewitched, and you took out, you know, Vincent Price and Lane, you know, if you took out all these character actors and stuff and you put in kind of like average, this movie would be pretty damn average. They really do sell this film with their performances. Everybody's so on point. Now, I will say, even though it's very tunnel visioned on where its direction is going, there still is a mystery. Like, you really don't know who actually is the Bat in this film, which is kind of a cool thing. The reveal feels like it's out of left field, and it possibly could be anybody. It's one of those moments where it's like you could have anybody in that as the killer, and you're like, oh, okay, well, it's that person. And it is kind of shocking who the Bat is in this film, given what their profession is and who they are and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. But the production on the film is it's a very low budget film. It feels like a TV production. It's pretty much all shot in this mansion, with the exception of a couple shots outside and things like that. But it does feel very, very low budget, small time kind of TV feel to it. I've always kind of felt that. It's not really the worst thing in the world, but you can tell the production wasn't a very high cost for this film. I mean, at the time, I don't even know Vincent Price. He was probably making the majority of the budget. I have no idea how it was working back in those days. But like I said, without the performances in this film to excel the film, you really don't have a lot here. But it's a really entertaining film. It only runs 80 minutes. And, like I said, if you're watching this film, you're watching it for Vincent Price and Agnes Moorehead, because they're really phenomenal in this. It's really good. Now, the Bat character is an interesting character, because the Bat kind of looks like a combination of the Invisible Man and Batman. I always call him the Invisible Batman. I've seen this movie multiple times over the years. It's kind of funny. Like, he literally looks like the Invisible Man mixed with the Batman. He's got this bat claw, and the story is with the Bat, he murders a lot of people. And what he does, he rips their throats out and things like that. Of course, this is 1959. We're not getting that graphic imagery and things like that. It's all implied. There's not really a lot of murders. Most of them are implied, I guess. There's kind of a cool one where someone gets hidden in a closet and stuff, because the house is all not booby trap, but it has like secret passageways and things like that and stuff. But if you modernize this film today, you could probably do something pretty crazy with it. Obviously, up the script, make it a lot better script, and you could really kind of do a lot with this character, because it's implied that he's a pretty vicious killer and things like that. So but all in all, the movie is hella entertaining. I haven't watched it, I think, since the last time I reviewed this film for Film Detective, which is years ago, and it's still fun. It's not a fantastic film, but like I said, the performances are what you're here for, and they really do deliver on all ends and stuff like that. So yeah, the Bat, I'm still coming in at a 7 out of 10. I'm not sure what I rated it before. It might have been higher, whatever. The sound quality on this Blu-ray is fantastic. The PQ is fantastic. Now, if you have the old Blu-ray and you're not interested in special features, I'd say just keep the old Blu-ray, because I believe it's the same transfer. The transfer is fantastic. It's really, really damn good. I grew up with this movie. I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it on, on DVD. I've seen it on TV, VHS, things like that. I've seen it on multiple transfers. This is the best it's ever looked. I'm not going to say it's ever going to be looked. Maybe it's going to get a 4K release. I have no idea. But it looks fantastic. Now, the reason why you want to get this one, if you're into special features, is for, the contents that are on here. So basically, this one comes with a full-length commentary. It comes with an essay, booklet, which I'll show, and the essay is really informative. It really is informative and stuff. It comes with a featurette, The Case of Crane Wilbur, who is the director of the film, which is pretty interesting, and it's basically on the director and the screenwriter of The Bat, which is Crane Wilbur. And the coolest thing about this release is it comes with 9 exclusive archival radio rebroadcast episodes starring Vincent Price from a radio show back in the 40s and 50s called Suspense. And it basically is just audio of Vincent Price and others that are performing these stories. And it's super cool. I listened to the first one and I was like, oh my God, it brought me back to watching An Evening with Edgar Allan Poe. If you've ever seen that before, where Vincent Price basically acts out and reads 3 Poe stories, and he just kills that. He's so damn good in that that kind of anthology of stories, whatever. Yeah, he's really good in this too, man. And Vincent Price is one of those guys, like, you can literally just listen to his voice and just fall into, the third dimension kind of thing. It's just crazy. So very, very cool to put all these type of features on here and stuff. So if you're into features, this is the way to go. If you're not into special features, then keep the old Blu-ray if you have it and stuff. But again, transfer, sound quality, really top notch here. Film Detective's doing a really good job with the releases and stuff. So definitely go out and support them. But yeah, The Bat. This is a film right here that is, kind of interesting, because, it was first adapted to the, a play adaptation, and then it was adapted in, I think, 1926, also in 1930, and then 1959. So this is the third film adaptation of the story by Reinhardt. Now, she's an interesting author because, they kind of talk about her. Well, obviously the essays about her and stuff, but one little anecdote that I got from it was that her and Agatha Christie are always kind of compared, and they always said that Agatha Christie should have been known as the British Reinhardt because, she sold like a motherfucker and just didn't get the recognition because she was kind of a little bit earlier and women just weren't perceived the same, but she was selling like, millions of copies of her books and shit like that. It's just incredible, the story. So that's the essay is very informative and stuff, but yeah. So the third adaptation, I was having this conversation the other day with a buddy of mine, and he was saying that he didn't like the remake of Pet Sematary, and I said, you mean the readaptation? And so we got into this conversation about adaptations and remakes and stuff like that. I'm like, if you're adapting something from a novelization, from a book or whatever, it's called an adaptation of the source material. So I was like, dude, the new Pet Sematary is just another adaptation of Stephen King's story. It's not a remake of the 80s film. And it is what it is, but I'm sticking to my story on that. I think this is not like the third remake. This is an adaptation. It's the third film adaptation of it. So I just want to get that straight, but I can have that conversation all day anyways, but I'm sticking to it. But anyways, The Bat from 1959, awesome release here, man. Definitely go out and get it. Like I said, if you're into the features and things like that. So well worth your time, but awesome. So good stuff there, and that's going to do it here for episode 94. I'll be back with another review sometime, and till then, as usual, do